One of the most requested game modes people want in GTA Online is a Cops and Crooks mode. Probably because so many people loved it in GTA 4, we want it in this game. And it did look like at one point that was going to happen. There's been numerous things found over the years indicating Rockstar planned on releasing this Cops and Crooks mode sometime, I believe, in 2020. But at the time, of course, in America, we had a bunch of those BLM protests and all the stuff happening with the cops. And I guess Rockstar realized it wouldn't be a good look to release a Cops DLC during that time. So they canned it. And we don't know if they plan on re-releasing it. I mean, it is maybe one of the rumors at the moment that the summer DLC this year, or maybe even the December DLC this year, might be involving the Cops and Crooks cut content, but we don't know anything official. What we do know is actually some new details, though, about this Cops and Crooks mode that was cut. So this person, Lucas Yoshi, he apparently discovered this completely by random, so he says. He says he was messing around in 5M, and he came across these screens. Now, these look like the screens that would show up at the end of like a race or a mission or something. And you can see, look at that, Cops RP, Crooks RP, and then Cop tokens and Crook tokens. Now, we always knew this Cops and Crooks mode was a thing. We never really knew how it worked, but I think this actually gives us a very clear idea of how this Cops and Crooks mode initially was going to work. Like I said, this end screen looks like it would be that of a mission or an adversary mode, which is probably what this Cops and Crooks mode was, just a glorified adversary mode. Now, I guess the additional things were those cop tokens and the crook tokens. Now, the other two modes in the game that have sort of an additional, we'll call it like a currency, the arena mode and the Los Santos car meet. And with both of those modes, when you play the game, the more you play it, the more basically you unlock. And it seems like that was what was going to happen with this Cops and Crooks mode. You played through the adversary mode or whatever, and I guess if you won, you would get cop tokens if you were a cop. If you lost, you wouldn't get as many. And one would imagine these tokens would be used for various upgrades of certain things. I mean, I think a flash grenade was actually in the game files at one point. I don't know how that would have worked in GTA Online, but that was apparently a thing. I mean, the stun gun, that recently came out, and it was kind of a weird addition considering it's always been in single player, but they just recently added it to online. A stun gun would have been perfect for a Cops and Crooks DLC. Maybe that was one of the upgrades that you could buy if you had enough tokens, but I'm sure there was other upgrades as well. And actually, according to FunMW2, that's sort of exactly what it was like. He says that lines up with what I heard about how the Cops and Crooks mode was going to be. Basically some sort of adversary mode, and that it would function sort of the same as the arena war. And this end part, he says, to clarify, that's what I heard about the new, like the 2020 Cops and Crooks mode. The old one from pre-release, literally from 2012, that one would have been an instanced version of free mode. And that we've talked about a couple of times. That was before, that was a GTA Online before GTA Online. It was a crazy different world. But this is for sure, I think, really interesting just to get an idea of what this Cops and Crooks mode might be. Now, I guess maybe the hope is that Rockstar decided to change it up and actually add this stuff to free mode if they wanted to re-release this. Because honestly, an adversary mode, I think, wouldn't be that great. Now, in the comments, you guys can disagree or agree with me, I guess, but I just don't think a Cops and Crooks mode would be suited to an adversary mode. A free mode would be way cooler if they could incorporate it and balance it properly. And the reason I say that is because we've all seen how the arena mode played out. We all see how adversary modes play out. You do like one or two here or there, and then you just never touch it again. And especially with the arena, the grind was insane for that. And I wouldn't want that in a Cops and Crooks mode because I want the Cops and Crooks mode to actually be fun and good. And honestly, maybe that was one of the reasons they decided to not release this, in addition to all the cop protesting stuff. Maybe they thought and realized that it wouldn't really be that great in an adversary mode. But either way, I do think this is kind of cool to see that, well, they had cop tokens and crook tokens. Now, I do wonder what a crook token would be. Cops, you could come up with a bunch of stuff, but crooks, I mean, we're already crooks. So what would they have had exclusive to that specific currency compared to all the other stuff we can buy? And actually, if you were wondering, the same user, Lucas, he decided to post where you could find this sort of stuff if you wanted to dig through the game files to find it yourself somehow. Apparently, it's in the mpcelebration.fg or _fg.gfx. And he also included one of the other older things that we found with the Cops and Crooks mode. There was, in the game files, the cubed minigame had a Cops and Crooks pack. And then actually, Wildbrick decided to throw this in here as well. Some other stuff found, or unused Cops and Crooks stuff found, was actually about the HUD, unused HUD colors. So you had the cop, the crook, enemy, endurance, which is an interesting thing, cash, tokens, cop specials, crook specials, and then something about controllers. And if that's all HUD icons, I mean, yeah, that is probably something you wouldn't be seeing in free mode. But it even gives us more details as to what that specific adversary mode looked like. I guess maybe the crooks had to go steal the cash or something. And I guess they have different special abilities potentially that you could use. Also, endurance is a factor. So maybe if you're chasing someone on foot, you can't sprint like all the way. It's hard to really know just looking at these words, but it does, like I said, give us a better understanding of what Rockstar was planning. And actually, I forgot, here's one final thing I wanted to bring up. The police buffalo was supposed to be a thing in this Cops and Crooks mode as well, which maybe that was part of the cop tokens. Maybe you could upgrade your police vehicle. Apparently there was another one, Wildbrick says here, an improved, possibly, and customizable variant of the police transporter. I would imagine, given everything sort of we're seeing here, and knowing that it was probably in an adversary mode, that this Cops and Crooks mode, the cops obviously were just waiting, potentially. The crooks had to go out and steal stuff. And then the cops' job probably was to capture the crooks without killing, which is why they had stun guns and flashbangs and stuff. And then transport them either in a transporter or I guess another police car back to like the station. I mean, it sounds simple enough that an adversary mode would make sense. But again, I think I would hope for a lot more. But I am curious. Let me know in the comments. What do you think these crook and cop tokens would have been used for? How many cool things could they have added? And I guess one of the things we'll never know maybe is if these Cops and Crooks tokens, the things you did buy, if they would have been available in free mode or just like for those adversary modes. But that is actually going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments, does this sort of Cops and Crooks mode interest you, or would you actually like it to be like a full-fledged free mode experience? I don't know how Rockstar, would do that. I don't know how they balance it, but that's not obviously for us to come up with. That's for them to figure out. But I do think a free mode version would be so much better than sort of an instanced adversary mode. Maybe I am, in the minority in thinking that. Let us know in the comments. Thank you guys for watching though. Please drop the video a like if you did enjoy, subscribe for more GTA content, and as always, I'll see you all in the next one.